What is going on YouTube? Today I have an awesome video for you guys. I'll be comparing the 2022 3070 Ti M16 with the 2023 4080 M16. Now if you guys haven't seen one of my videos before, this is more of me just kind of like sitting down and having a conversation like I would with a friend. So if there's anything that I miss and anything that you want to know about specifically, please leave it in a comment down below. Other than that, I really hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, please leave a like, sub, and comment. It really goes a long way in supporting the channel. Thank you. Alright, so first look, you probably aren't going to be able to tell much of a difference, if at all, just looking at these two laptops head on. So at the right, oh, you do have that nice little sticker there, one solid upgrade for this year. But here is the M16 2022 3070 Ti, and here's the 2023 with the 4080. Now, let me go over just what is physically different on these machines first. So right off the bat, the actual keyboard layout, all of that is completely the same on the top here. Now when you do start getting into different territory is the ports and the build quality. So here on the 2023 model, you could see the power adapter is located at the back, where you could see this one is located kind of midway there. This also does not have an Ethernet port, but it does have the USB-C, HDMI 2.1, USB Type-A, microphone headphone jack, and on the other side you have micro SD, USB-C, USB-A. This connects directly to the 4080, as does the HDMI. Now at the 2022 model, as you could see, here is that AC adapter port I was talking about that's located on the back here. Here's that HDMI, the Ethernet port that is not on the new model, USB Type-A, two USB-Cs, headphone, microphone, also all kind of pushed a little closer towards like where you'd be sitting, like closer towards the chin of the laptop. And here you have a USB-A, micro SD, and a Kensington lock. Another small difference to be aware of is it may be kind of hard to see here on camera, but you have like this matte coating all around the lid and the top of the device, whereas on the new model it's like a shiny brushed aluminium kind of finish to it. Now, one of the biggest differences that you won't really be able to tell on camera is the fact that this has a mini LED display at 240 Hertz 1600p, essentially quad HD. This has a 165 Hertz screen, 1600p, because of that 16:10 aspect ratio that these both have, and no mini LED. This is essentially just an IPS panel, and what you get is what you get. On the other hand, the 4080 over here has the ability to not only have multi-zone traditional mini LED technology, where it uses multiple dimming zones across the screen to give you close to an OLED experience, but you also have the ability to do just one dimming zone, and it will give you better color accuracy if you are video editing or something of that nature. Now, I would usually show this in Armory Crate, but I'm trying out G Helper on this device, where you can select multi-zone or single zone right here by this little soft switch. Supposedly this takes much less for the computer to operate, so in theory it'll give you better performance in games and whatnot. Something I'm currently testing out. If you guys want a video on that, just let me know, drop some questions down below. So far so good. I am really liking the simplicity of this. It is important to say, even though mini LED in and of itself may be worth the upgrade, the question, like the most important thing is that this is still an absolutely stunning and beautiful display until you sit it next to the mini LED. Now again, you can't really tell on camera, but even this simple wallpaper here, the colors are just kind of like popping at you, a lot more vibrant. The tree right here, to my eye, kind of seems a little shadowy. Whereas if you look right here, this white little cloud behind the tree is nice and bright. And that's just kind of what you deal with when you have one essentially locally dimming display, an IPS panel. All the RGBness that is in the display gets lit up by a single backlight, which can give you that backlight bleed that a lot of these have, whereas mini LED kind of just destroys that as an option altogether because of the nature of the multi-dimming zones. So one way I hope that I can show this to you guys is what you're looking at right now. Now you may think that the screen is off on the 2023 model. However, as you can see, I move the mouse and you get, you know, the little YouTube clip that I have. Whereas if you look at this, the camera kind of exaggerates it, and it's not nearly as bad when you have something that's actually colorful on the screen. But you could see just the nature of the IPS panel black back bleed, that you're going to get like a washed out mess, and your experience may vary on the panel lottery. Basically, a lot of these models will have variances in the tolerance of how much backlight bleed that they have, but mini LED, it's essentially non-existent. So if that is something that you care about, the quality of the screen that you're getting, it's honestly night and day, if you see what I did there. Now you may say that a more fair comparison would be the 4070 against the 3070 Ti. My only deal or gripe with that is that, you know, last year the 3070 Ti was the second from the best being the 3080 Ti. Now the 4080 is the best, second to the 4090. I honestly feel like it's just an NVIDIA naming scheme cash grab kind of thing, where the 4090 should be the 4080 and there should be no 4090. They should probably just name them different things altogether, since it's not the actual same GPU as the desktop GPUs. But yeah, okay, small little rant tangent here, but I really do feel like if you are a consumer and you don't understand the differences between TGP, the total graphic power that goes to these laptops. Oh, that's another thing. 125 or 120 to 150. So the 2023 model does get more power. But yeah, back to my point is that like a 4090 desktop series could get like 500, 600, 700 watts of power. I don't know the exact number off my head, which is like a fourth of what you'd get on a laptop 4090. So that naming scheme is just kind of ridiculous. And to kind of further my point, the 4070 2023 M16 model, the 4070 matches the raw performance of the 3070 Ti. So if you're thinking like, I'm gonna get a 4070 M16, you will get, you know, the new build, and I believe Best Buy has that mini LED, which may be worth the upgrade over the 3070 Ti in and of itself. Not upgrade as in if you have this, go buy that one. I mean like choosing the 4070 over the 3070 Ti. It may be worth that just for the screen, but the performance is going to be exactly the same. Unless you use the frame generation technology
on the 40 series of laptops, you're going to have almost the same exact laptop minus the display. So you could get this on sale for like $1,500 at Best Buy here and there, whereas the new 4070 model is $2,000. So if that $500 is worth a mini LED, which it may be for some, then I think you just kind of got to save your dollars. Maybe wait for Black Friday at the end of this year, where this was probably going to get cut on sale for a bit. Go with the 4080, in my opinion. I think the 4070, especially if you plan on holding on to these laptops for quite some time, the 4070 is just not enough to warrant that upgrade or that price, in my opinion. Because not only do you have to worry about a game supporting frame generation, DLSS, LMNOP, whatever it is, say the game that you want does support it, but you love first-person shooters, you're going to have to deal with latency because the graphics card is going to be rendering frames at a smaller scale to upgrade them to whatever resolution you're playing at, and then you're going to lose like however many milliseconds, and then the other guy's going to kill you first, and then you're going to wish you got a 4080. So that's just kind of my 2 cents. Now, to continue with the whole performance thing about it, another reason that a 4070 may be worth considering, still go with the 4080 in my opinion, is the fact that the insides have changed. So what I mean by that is, if you open these bad boys up, this 2022 M16 has one stick of RAM soldered on to the motherboard, so you could only upgrade one stick. This has both available for upgrade. That is one thing to take into consideration, but the real little upgrade is that there's a third fan sitting kind of right here. Now when you couple that along with the new power efficiency of the 40 series chips, you can get a wildly different like bang for your power buck on this. Now what I mean by that is, like, I could have this in performance mode and this in performance mode, and this thing, you could hear the fans all day, they'll be screaming. Whereas this, because the GPU doesn't have to have as much juice to put out as much power or give you as much FPS, this thing's like almost whisper quiet. Now it can get very loud in turbo mode, and insanely loud, but the difference that you get in like frames or whatever, granted I play Call of Duty, which is a hot mess right now, it's not that big of a jump to where I could comfortably leave this in performance mode and get well over 100 frames and have a whisper quiet laptop. Now I showed that in my little first impressions video of the 2023, so I'll link that down below if you'd like to check that out. But the power efficiency of the 40 series laptops are just unmatched. I will throw on a little Call of Duty just so you guys could get a feel for what I mean by the differences in sound that you're getting between these two machines. Now, it is interesting that from what I hear, the new G16 is going to use this same chassis. So I assume it's going to have all the old hookups and all that and what have you. I don't believe it has the mini LED display, but maybe, you know, if you don't care about the display and all that, G16 might be the way to go. I haven't seen the prices on those, but if they're cheaper than the $2,000 that the 4070 M16 is, it definitely may be worth a look at if that power efficiency is something that really matters to you. All right, let's fire up Call of Duty just so you could hear what I mean by the fan differences, and then we'll go from there. So as you can see, I fired up the game. This is what the 2022 models fans are going to sound like in performance mode. Now, even though that this laptop is missing the third fan that the new one implemented, I gotta say, I never really see GPU temps go over 70 degrees or 70 degrees Celsius. So even though it is a little louder, a little warmer to the touch, it still keeps like the internal components quite cool. Alright, so now that we're actually in the game, I'm going to turn these fans up to turbo mode just so you could see what that sounds like. Now turbo mode on both of these laptops gives you anywhere between like a 15 to 30% increase. That's how you're going to hit the max TGPs on these, unless you go into manual mode and like mess with the fan curves and whatnot. But as you can see, it is quite loud. So on both of these laptops, and I'll show you the other one in a second, you're going to want to implement some kind of headset, maybe a headset with ANC. Shout out to the Steel series, by the way. So let me throw some volume on this. So if you're gaming in the 2022 model and you're just gaming off the speakers, you want the best possible FPS, you're on turbo mode, this is what the fans are going to sound like. Now I don't have a mouse hooked up, so we'll just see how this goes. Oh yeah, playing with the trackpad is not it. I'm at a weird angle. Oh yeah, this is this is nearly impossible to play with the trackpad. But yeah, just to give you guys, how do I even aim? Okay, I can't aim and shoot at the same time. Okay, that's that's not the point. The point is to just kind of hear the fans. And turbo, getting about like 114 frames per second here. Now we're back on performance mode. You could see the fans drop. Frames are down from like 120 to like 100 flat. And yeah, this is a fairly loud laptop. Not a problem if you have a headset again. And if you're running on silent, just doing light web browsing, then this is definitely a silent laptop as advertised. Alright, now that you guys have seen this, let me throw the 2023 model in and you guys could hear a difference. Alright, so right off the rip, this is a laptop in performance mode. You see, you could kind of hear like a little whisper of the fan. So again, I disabled Armory Crate on this laptop to try out G-Helper, but balanced mode here is essentially the same thing as performance mode. I was in ultimate mode on both of the laptops using only the dedicated GPU. And right here, starting into the game, this is about as loud as the fans go in performance mode. So let's hop into a game and see how these actually sound. Alright, so as you can see, I'm getting about like 120 frames on performance mode or balance mode here. And this is what the fans sound like. So again, one of the main reasons you'd want to upgrade to the 40 series isn't necessarily for the new frame generation technology, in my opinion. It is for the power efficiency. So we're getting better performance. Granted, this is a 4080. The 4070, your mileage may vary. Again, I don't really recommend that one. But this is what your fans are going to sound like compared to this. Here, I'll throw up a clip of what the fans sounded like on the 2022. One thing to really note here before I throw this bad boy in a turbo is the third fan is in here and the TDP has been increased by 30 watts, so 120 to 150 in the same chassis. So turbo mode definitely sounds like a jet engine. Here we go. Now, the thing about turbo mode is that you do get that like 20% increase in performance, but you don't really need it with how power efficient the 4080 is, or the 40 series. So like if you hear this, it's pretty loud, semi-obnoxious. Again, if you have a gaming headset, you're not really going to notice or care about this. We're getting like 130-ish frames with a couple dips because Call of Duty's not very optimized. But this is what this sounds like, essentially full blast. Now, to give you guys an idea or comparison again of just the sound difference in performance mode, or balance mode according to G Helper. As you can see, the fans immediately ramp down, and then you're playing with what, in my opinion, is like one of the quietest gaming laptops I've ever heard. And again, I'm getting like 115 frames, completely playable. I have a pretty decent amount of settings cranked up on this. It's not set up for like max frames. I actually like how the game looks. And by the way, the mini LED, noticeable difference in game. All the tan poopy colors of Call of Duty really pop on this screen. So I can't imagine what something like Cyberpunk or things of that nature would look like on this mini LED. So those are the main topics that I really wanted to cover as far as gaming goes. Both of these laptops you would be absolutely happy with. The 3070 Ti is a great deal for performance if you could get it on that $1,500 Best Buy sale. I would honestly rather get that over the 4070 model, unless the mini LED is something that you really want. Alright guys, so that is all that I really have for you. Again, if there's anything that I didn't cover that you want me to, please leave it in a comment down below. I really love hearing from you guys. Leaving a like, sub, and comment really does support the channel. Other than that, hope you had a good time, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.